Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Monday evening call. So, this evening, Alex is going to be sharing some of the amazing technology that we have with LifeWave and X39, and then we're going to have two amazing testimonials. So, thank you, everybody, for being here, everybody who's watching the recording, and for giving us your time. We're going to try and keep it really brief, which Alex is amazing at doing, along with giving such valuable information. So I'm going to hand over to Alex so she can introduce herself, give a bit of her background, and then jump into the presentation.
Thanks, Merle. Welcome, everybody, and using your time efficiently so that we maximize that and don't waste your time is my whole priority. So I've been involved with LifeWave for 3 years, very reluctantly at first, but it's been an incredibly interesting journey from a technology point of view. And my whole drive is to make sure that as many people as possible can understand and have insight into how quite extraordinary this technology is. So my background is that I am a nurse by professional qualification, and that I spent many, many years in the pharmaceutical industry. And so I spent a great deal of time researching the clinical relevance of this extraordinary product that we're about to tell you about. So let's begin so that we can give you the information.
Just give me a sec to share.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. It all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we are made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. A patch is applied to specific points on the body where it covers the skin. Infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and its ability to heal itself. On a cellular level, this matters because many of the patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are naturally neutralized. LifeWave. Live long, live well.
Right. So at this point, we always ask, have you been patched yet? And many of us on this call have. And Margriet's a brand new almost patcher because they're still in the post. So what patches do? They elevate, activate, and regenerate. Elevate what? Peptide. What is a peptide? A peptide is just a chain of amino acids. They communicate, big communicators. You have lots and lots of them in your body, peptides. And the peptide that we're particularly talking about is a peptide called GHKCU. It's a copper peptide. And that peptide is something that we have a lot of, but we lose as we begin to age, which is part of the reason why we age, because that peptide supports an enormous amount of systems in our system. So by being able to elevate that peptide, suddenly we are creating an environment in which our body, with an increase in the peptide that we were losing because we were aging, is able to start repairing and healing itself. So we elevate the peptide that activates our body's own ability to heal itself, and with our body being in that position through an endogenous peptide, which means a peptide that our body is familiar with, our systems begin to regenerate. So that's patches in a kernel. Who is David Schmidt? Our CEO. He's a scientist and inventor of LifeWave since 2004. David first developed patches for the American military to keep submariners alert on long missions, and those patches worked. And with the idea of this technology having been developed then, patches and the development of different patches has grown since then. So within our stable, we have 10 patches. So you'll see there that it says David is celebrating 200 patents. That's huge for just one human being on planet Earth to be the architect of that many patents. And he specializes in age reversing. So in 2008, David focused his attention on stem cell research. And it took 10 years to bring X39 and 4.5 million to bring X39 to market, which was launched in 2020. So X39 is the patch that we're going to be talking about tonight. And that is the patch that stimulates this peptide that I mentioned on the first slide. And that peptide is where it all starts and happens. So we have patented technology. What does that mean? Everybody knows what a patent is. It's unique information that you've had to prove, that you have the scientific basis and information and details to back up. And it's technology, not medicine. So we're coming at helping people heal from a completely different direction. What does this technology, which is patented, actually do? It enables a wearable phototherapy apparatus, which produces beneficial effects on the human body, such as activation of stem cells. And I just want to pause there. Stem cells are the cells that repair and heal in all of us. And as we age, we lose our ability to repair and heal as we get older. By regenerating this peptide and giving ourselves the opportunity to stimulate our own stem cells, there is activation of our own dormant stem cells. What does that translate into? Improvements in strength, in stamina, pain relief, all by using something that is non-transdermal. And this non-transdermal apparatus, this little patch, reflects or emits specific wavelengths of light to elevate the levels of copper peptide in your body. So the GHKCU that we spoke about at the beginning. In 2025, LifeWave won the Biotech Breakthrough Award. And the significance of this for LifeWave as a company was significant because thousands of nominations from 15 different countries throughout the world competed. And it's prestigious because a lot of the companies that we were up against have been operating in this field and competing in this way for many, many, many years. And so what is this award awarded for? It's a global recognition platform that encourages bold ideas and solutions that will shape the future of biotechnology. So once again, we hear that same word, technology, not medicine. What can we bring technologically wise to change our world and to change our ability to maintain and repair our health? How X39 works. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. What is phototherapy? Light therapy. It's patented nanocrystal technology. So in that patch is a tiny, tiny lattice work of crystals, and they're made up of sugar, salt, water, and oxygen, and then proprietary amino acids. So histidine, lysine, and cysteine. And that technology is what is in that little white center that you see in the middle of the patch. Our patch reflects light to activate. So what is the light source? The light source is our human infrared. So the closest thing that I can give you to understand that analogy is that the sun gives us vitamin D. It does not physically give us vitamin D. The ultraviolet rays of the sun activate or shine on our skin, and that sets up a frequency which stimulates our body to produce its own vitamin D. Patches work on a similar principle. Here, the light source is our body's own infrared, and that switches the patch on. So inside the patch, there is no drug, no chemical, or stimulant. So nothing crosses your skin. It's non-transdermal. So it's not like other patches that you're used to hearing about. Nothing crosses the skin barrier except a message. And that makes the whole technology non-invasive. So why the X39 patch? As I've mentioned before, the fewer active cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. The interesting and curious thing about that is at the age of 30, we only have about 50% of our ability of the peptide. And that peptide GHKCU is the one that's directly linked to our ability to stimulate our own stem cells. So at age 30, we only have 50% of that. By age 60, we've lost almost all of that peptide, and consequently almost all of our ability to stimulate dormant stem cells and heal ourselves. So we don't have to be in that position because we now have X39, which is able to stimulate the peptide that stimulates our dormant stem cells. What are the benefits of X39? They're huge and they're vast. So everything that you see in terms of a heading here would have a whole list of things underneath it. Let's start with optimum health and wellness. You simply feel better. It really is the most extraordinary feeling when you start using X39. You simply feel better. Healthy energy flow. Quite a difficult thing to measure, but the thing that everybody talks about. So all of those would have headings underneath them in terms of the organs and the impact on the systems that X39 is having. Improved exercise performance, improved stamina. All those things have a direct lifestyle implication. Improvements in strength. And all of this, a whole significant change about how your body operates and feels, all with no drugs or stimulants. So it is possible to achieve optimum health in a state of complete physical, mental, and emotional well-being. I need to say at this point that LifeWave products are not designed or intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. X39 long-term results. So everything on this screen, we have clinical evidence to substantiate. So we have the case studies. Let's begin with 4,000 genes begin to reset. What does that even mean? We have about 12 to 1,800 genes in our body, and we can reset 4,000 of them by beginning to use X39. Genes work by being regulated up and down. Doesn't necessarily mean good, and down doesn't necessarily mean bad, but genes are shifting and changing in our bodies all day, and that's relatively new science. We used to think that the genes you got were the genes you got, and you had no ability to change that. Now, epigenetics has taught us that by eating right and having a good lifestyle and drinking enough water, you can have a positive influence on that. But nothing in medicine has been able to reset genes. Nothing in conventional medicine. We have a product called resveratrol, which resets two genes. X39 resets 4,000 genes. It really is a game changer in terms of, because genes demonstrate how disease manifests. Our brain becomes balanced. One of the first things people talk about is the reduction of brain fog. But how else would that manifest for people in seeing what a balanced brain is? A balanced brain would have a positive impact for people expressing any kind of cerebral symptoms. So headaches, brain fog, neurodiverse behavior, migraines, anything that is considered to be cerebral in its orientation would be positively impacted by the balancing that occurs when using X39. Your collagen is increased. Collagen is not just in our hair, skin, and nails. It's absolutely everywhere. It is the glue that holds your entire body together. And as our collagen starts to be less than what it was, tiny little bits inside you start to not work as well as they used to, and eventually it can become cumulative. So they are in kidneys, hearts, lungs, blood vessels, joints, but it's everywhere. And so as the quality of the collagen becomes a bit iffy, so slowly things start to not function as well. Here we have clinical proof to show that your collagen, your own indigenous collagen that your body's going to recognize far better than anything you could possibly take, starts to repair and increase the functionality of the collagen throughout your entire body, not just your knee, which is the one that's obvious to most people, knees or backs or shoulders or something, because it's a joint. So that's the value of collagen. And then there was also a clinical trial in which of 15 people, we managed to reverse, or X39 managed to reverse the actual age of the heart by being measured in proper clinical parameters, which frankly is quite exceptional. So it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. How to wear X39 consistently. Really, that's probably the most important part. You wear the patch for 12 hours on so that we can elevate, activate, and regenerate that peptide that we've spoken about. And then you remove the patch for 12 hours so that your body can rest, repair, and rejuvenate. And that's really important because this is a signal. Remember that we're not putting medicine into your system, we are sending a message. So if the body was continuously bombarded with that message, eventually it would stop responding. You'll see on the picture the two places to place the patch, which is where all the clinical trials were done. And that placement is sensible in terms of the fact that there are huge nerve plexuses there, and so the conductivity of the message will be most efficient. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and then you just put a new patch on the next day and repeat. You can wear more than one patch at a time. As I mentioned before, we have 10 patches. Today, we're only talking about X39. And another really important aspect of that is you need to drink plenty of good water and take electrolytes. This is essentially body electricity. This is about conductivity. And the better hydrated you are, the faster the message will move through the system. And the value of electrolytes is that the latest clinical work says that about 97% of the population is electrolyte deficient for a whole variety of reasons. So sugar-free electrolytes, because electrolytes are what help the message to jump literally from cell to cell. They're like spark plugs that make the message go from one cell to another. So here is a website called This Is It Info. There's a whole lot of information on that website, and depending on which part fascinates you in terms of reading about the product or how we got where we got, or the clinical trials that are there, take this down and go and take a look. So, testimonies of X39 are emotional and life-changing, and frankly, guys, that's why we're all here. Okay, because of the stories. And they're not stories that people make up. They are stories of real life experiences that people have had, of a real life change. So thank you. Caroline.
Oh, thank you, Alex. It's always so interesting to hear your take on all of it. Um, and yes, it really is things that have happened to us. I have now been patching for 2.5 years, a bit more. I'm a homeopath. I live in England, but I'm actually Danish. And I heard about the patches thinking, I wonder if it can help me. I think a lot of us are in the same situation where we try lots of different things to help our various symptoms and with various degrees of success. And in my case, I had a really stiff knee that I just couldn't bend. For a couple of years, actually, I tried lots of different um, modalities to try and help it, and nothing really worked. So when I heard about the patches, and I had really done a bit of research, not as thorough as you, Alex, but nevertheless, I was really keen to make sure that it was non-transdermal and safe. And I love the idea of light therapy. I love the idea of bringing more light into the body. And so I started. And I think leading up to that, I'd been more and more, I was 65 when I started actually, and I'd had more and more pain creep in slowly over time. And with pain, you just get used to it and you just get on with life and you kind of, but what happened was it was waking me up at night. I had a very stiff neck, I had stiff shoulders, and I had pain inside my hands as well. There was no diagnosis as such, but I knew it was age probably. And I also knew I didn't have so many left of those cells that we want to activate. So there was one way forward, and that was to try them. And it was probably a couple of weeks in that I started feeling the effect. I mean, in the beginning, I just didn't know what to feel for, and I didn't really have any sensation. But I realized that my sleep was getting more and more deep, and I was waking with this feeling of just rested energy, ready to kind of hit the day. And it was a really good feeling, actually. I hadn't been sleeping so well because of the pain. So I was excited that that was only a couple of weeks into having started patching. Then I was out driving one day and I had to turn to look over my shoulder, and I realized that I just turned really, really quickly. And my husband was in the car. I said, "Did you see that?" And he was like, "No." I said, "It really happened. I can feel it. I can just turn now without having that kind of feeling of restriction." So slowly over the next 3 months, that was when the magic really, really started to happen. And I realized that funnily enough, around the 3 months time, which was probably just a coincidence, I I could bend that knee again. And it was just such a lovely feeling. It was that feeling of running up the stairs and not bracing yourself for that pain that would otherwise hit you, or being able to do yoga, or I could squat again, which I didn't think I was ever going to get to at my age. So all of that was really exciting. And because I was the age I was when I started, I decided I wanted to definitely patch for 6 to 7 months. So I continued. And what happened over the next many months, and actually is still happening, is that it's been a fascinating journey actually, because without you really noticing, things are just changing all the time. And I think the main thing that I still, now that I've hit another milestone in my birthday just yesterday, is that I just got so much energy, and I'm also patching my husband, and we both like yeah, let's move house, let's start let's do that. And I'm thinking, but we're at the age where normally people just say, let's just slow down. And we're both saying, no, let's not slow down, let's speed up. Let's fit everything in. And it's really good feeling to feel that you have the physical and mental kind of capacity to keep going and wanting to keep going. And I think that's the biggest thing that I can say that has happened to me over these 2.5 years is that I've just got that feeling of obviously so much more wellness, strength, stamina, but also a real appetite for life. That has just made me think that my 60s are like the best time ever, and I'm like, yes, bring it on. And that was something I wasn't expecting. And on top of that, I've also then suddenly become part of this wonderful network of friends and people I had no idea. I knew no one when I started. And now I've got friends all over the world. We chat, we meet, we communicate, we help each other. It's just such a pleasure of a company to be part of. So yeah, I will not stop, and I will tell everyone I can to get patching. And I could go on, but I think we'll let Des have a little go as well. And but always happy to come back and talk more about my own experiences and those people that I have met. Thank you,
Thank
Alex.
you, Karen. Thank you. And also, your whole reference to it changes all the time.
Mm,
So 3 years down the line, I could talk for a full half hour in terms of what has changed in my body physically.
mm,
And the impact that that's had on my life, because I had lived with chronic pain for 20 years. And you talked in the beginning about just getting used to that
mm.
and and just thinking that's normal. It's actually just a consequence of where we are. So the energy that has freed up for me, it's I'm a whole different person because suddenly I have like new engines and it changes everything. It changes how you look at the world. It changes what you do with the world. It changes how you respond to people. It changes your life. So thank you. Thank you so much for that.
No, and I should maybe just also add that along the way, all these other things that happened was my hair got thicker, my skin, as you were saying, the collagen, the the eyes, my eyes were suddenly better. I could drive in the night without getting a glare. The dentist was saying your gums look good. So it was just, I encourage everyone to just, if they can, just keep going because I love this journey and it just gets better.
It's cumulative.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
really is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Des, thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, my name's Des. For those of you who don't know me, I belong to Merle, and yeah, going back to December 2022, Merle gave me the instruction that we were going to start using these patches, and I said, oh, well, fine, let's give it a go. Tell me, let's see what it's about, and fast forward about 2 years, and I'd been along this journey with Merle. By that time, we'd been on trips overseas and all sorts of things, with the company. And I've been hearing these fantastic stories about what was happening to other people with while using the patches. And I was thinking to myself, that's funny. Yeah, I don't haven't noticed anything like that or anything like that or anything like that. So I thought, well, yeah, well, maybe it just takes longer with me. And fast forward to about just over 2 years after that, and I was at my dentist having some teeth fixed, and he was all of a sudden he said, "Hold on, something strange here." And he says, "There's no evidence of this hereditary gum condition that you've got." Now, I know that I have it. I've known since my early 20s. My mother had it to the point where she had to have surgery. Both my sisters were diagnosed with it. And it's one of those things where if you maintain it, you look after it, it's not life-threatening, but it's incurable. Once you got it, you got it. It's genetic. It's just one of those things. And the next thing I'm lying there, and I got my dentist telling me, I've never seen anything like this before. There's no evidence of it at all. It's completely gone. And well, this got me to thinking, yeah, well, maybe that's what the That's what the patches have been doing when I've been thinking they've been doing nothing. Yeah, I've still got this funny toe and this ache and this pain over here, and my tinnitus is still what it was. But just because the things that I thought I needed to heal haven't healed, doesn't mean that the body has prioritized that something else is more important. Like, for example, this condition, which can lead to it can lead to heart problems down the line if left untreated, and all manner of secondary problems, which I've managed to avoid completely because I don't have any evidence of it anymore. Yeah, and then as if I was just sort of getting over that, it was not long after that I got my annual bloods back from my GP, and they said, "Oh well, your kidney function was a little bit low last year, but we're happy to let you know that it's all well up into the normal range here now." So once again, not something I could feel, not something I felt a difference personally to, but the the evidence is there that it has changed, and it's just and the message I'm trying to give is it's not just because something you feel needs to change. It lets your body prioritize what needs to change. I think that's it.
And then your knee replacement.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. Well, one of the things I hoped to get better was my persistent knee pain and knee problems, and I had a couple of incidents last year, and that it just got worse. It wasn't getting any better, and so after we did a long, nearly 2 month long trip in Europe, hobbling around in a knee brace and taking lots of anti-inflammatories, I went for a knee replacement 6 weeks ago, and I just seen my orthopedic guy today, and he says no reason to see you again. I don't need any 3 month or 6 month follow-ups. If you carry on going at the rate you're going, you're going to exceed all expectations that you could have had out of the surgery. And yeah, I put a lot of that down to, I'm not a youngster anymore, so I don't expect to heal like a 20-year-old. But here I've jumped straight back from this. 3 weeks after surgery, I was ready to jump on a plane and fly 36 hours. My orthopedic and my physiotherapist, they were shocked to see that I was ready to go, and they both gave me the green light, said, "Go, you're good." I don't know if I could have done that without the support of these patches. So I'm a fan.
Thank you,
And
Des.
yeah, the healing's looking really good. I mean, Des downplays it. Healing's really good. He was off crutches in 2 weeks, on a plane just over 3 weeks. And we only got back last week, which was exactly 6 weeks post-surgery. So he managed to sit through conferences, travel like 36 hours to get there. It was over 40 hours home. And it's done remarkably. So I think that accelerates the healing, which, Des is not stressing. He downplays all his
Oh, well, I said I don't think I would be where I am now. Well,
No, you
for them, I wouldn't. I don't think it could be expected to be for anyone to be where I am now.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Des. Thank you for the context and the perspective, everybody. Thank you for the two of you for sharing, so that everybody can get real life stories of how this actually changes stuff. Okay, Merle, up to you.
So thanks everyone for being on the call. We're going to put out the recording. I'm actually going to stop recording now. They are, of course, especially thanks to Alex for presenting as amazingly as always, and Caroline and Des for giving testimonies.